Our relationship with Microsoft is about really smart people working together to make a difference in the world.
Microsoft shares our passion for supply chain and logistics. We're collaborating to bring a future vision to that space.
We've done more in the last 6 months than we've done in the last 6 years.
Microsoft is on this journey with us, and it's really exciting.
Thank you for joining us for our April 2019 virtual launch. You saw a lot of customers on this video that let us in here. We're going to look at a lot of customers today as we go through demo after demo after demo, showing some of the new capabilities that we've announced and are shipping now today and will ship over the course of the next 6 months. And so we've got a lot lined up here, about 75 minutes of back-to-back demo. But before we get into that, I want to speak a little bit about sort of what's driving us, our point of view, our vision that's helping shape the applications that we're delivering today and into the future. So if you think about business applications, fundamentally, they've been unchanged for decades and decades. If you were to go back to 1971, take someone who's sitting in a call center, for example, and look at the applications that they're using, pick them up, move them to 1992, pick them up, move them to 2015, they'd look very familiar. In fact, that person would probably see more differences in hairstyles and dress across the decades than they would in the applications. Ultimately, these applications have sort of been forms over data, and they've supported very reactive business processes. If you think about that call center example, let's say that you're a manufacturer and you sell someone a piece of equipment, and that piece of equipment is in a factory environment and it breaks down. The typical process over all time has been that someone picks up the phone, they call the call center operator picks up the call, they then open a business application, begin to listen to the problem. Data is now being created that can then be used to go perhaps roll a field service truck to repair the problem and bring the customer back online. Super reactive, but it's all we've had. But something is fundamentally changing. And that fundamental change is that data is coming out of everything. And it's coming first, out of every factory environment, out of every aircraft engine. And that allows us to take this reactive process and to turn it into a proactive process, really to turn it upside down. Think about this, the same scenario we just talked about. So now you've got this piece of factory equipment that's sending a continuous stream of telemetry, information about the usage, the health of that piece of equipment. That's landing in something like Azure, a public cloud environment where an anomaly detection model can predict that a problem is going to occur, not that it has occurred, but that it's on its way to occurring. That can lead to a proactive business process where a maintenance truck roll happens versus a repair, and the customer never goes down. It's a fundamental shift, and for the first time allows us to reimagine business applications. Now, if you think about what we call this digital feedback loop, where data is flowing from everything, from your customers, your products, your people, your operations, every social media interaction, every product that's wired together, every factory piece of equipment, updates to your LinkedIn profile, all of this information flowing allows you, if you can collect it and then analyze it, to build a view of your customers, products, people, and operations that you can then use to more intelligently engage. So on the customer side, building a single view of your customer based on this data allows you to then intelligently interact from a marketing, sales, service perspective. That, of course, creates even more data, which leads to this continuous improvement of the knowledge of your customer in this case, but it spans every part of your business. Allowing you to optimize your operations, to empower your employees, to engage your customers, and to reimagine the products and services that you're selling. And so we're going to, at Microsoft, take this worldview, have taken this worldview, and created something that we think allows us to uniquely serve our customers in the marketplace, starting at the bottom here with data. So about 7 years ago, we began to lay down a global footprint of data center capacity, allowing all of our customers to capture data regardless of where it's coming from. Big data, little data, streaming, real-time, relational, non-relational. And then we built on top of that a set of services that allows our customers to extract value from that data, intelligence, insight. And on top of that, within Azure, an application platform to allow you to take that intelligence and then to act on it, to go create these proactive business processes. On top of that, we've built the Power Platform, which we'll see today, Power BI, Power Apps, Microsoft Flow, allowing non-programmers, non-professional technologists to also connect with data to gain intelligence and then to transform their business processes. Atop that, Office 365, Dynamics 365, providing the industry's only comprehensive collection of business applications that span both structured business processes and unstructured. So create, collaborate, communicate with Office and with Dynamics 365 across marketing, sales, service, operations, finance, and talent to automate your business processes, to take data intelligence, and to act on things proactively. On top of that, we built AppSource, and we now have thousands of ISVs who've built applications across this stack focused on specific industries or on specific geographies. And then finally, we have a collection of data assets at Microsoft across Bing, LinkedIn, the Microsoft Graph that allows us to augment our customers' data, to enrich, to enhance, and to provide the ability for customers to get more value out of their data by bringing more data to the party effectively. So we're going to focus now on Dynamics 365. As I said, we've got about 75 minutes of demo after demo after demo. We're going to focus on a lot of the new capabilities that have come in the spring release, in the April release. 350 plus new capabilities and 6 brand new applications and services focused primarily on this worldview, taking data, gathering intelligence as a result of that data, and then proactively using that intelligence to transform your processes. And to kick us off, I'm going to have Oren Ringler come talk about Dynamics 365 Sales Insights.
Thank you, James. Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to be here today to talk about our new release of Dynamics 365 Sales Insights. With Dynamics 365 Sales Insights, we are transforming the way salespeople work with their CRM system. In the past, it was a tedious work. You need to enter a lot of information into your CRM system and not get a lot of value. In the previous release, we actually provided a lot of tools for salespeople to be much more productive, to focus on what's important with opportunity scoring, lead scoring, to give them actionable relationship insight, and to actually automate the enter of information into their CRM system. Today, we are releasing a bunch of new capabilities and also extending to Sales Manager. We are releasing Call Intelligence, bringing a better coaching tools for Manager. We are releasing Business Q&A for Manager, so you don't need to look for all the reports and all the data that it's so important for you. You can actually just put any sentence that you want, any question, and the data will come to you. Assistant Studio, a very new framework for sales op and sales managers to focus their sales team on the right information, give them the best next action to act upon, and the right content for that. And finally, predictive forecasting for a much more accurate forecasting. But today I want to focus on one of my favorite new capabilities, Call Intelligence. As a sales manager, I want to bring and give my sales team the best tools to be much more productive, to close actually on their deals. I want to make sure that they have the right training, that they have the right onboarding experience as they start their new work in my sales team. What if I can have actually an assistant that sits on any call of my sales team, that listens to all the conversations? I can go and listen to only few of those, but what if I had actually a set of assistants that sits with all of my salespeople, looking at their interactions with their customers? Well, today you can have it. We call it Call Intelligence. And at Microsoft, we like to drink our own champagne, so we are actually using Call Intelligence in our call centers of inside sellers. Let's take a look at our inside sales call center in Fargo. They are selling Azure, and let's see how they are using Call Intelligence to make the sellers much more focused and productive and close better deals. So as a manager, when I look into my Call Intelligence, I can immediately see all the relevant KPIs. I can see the total call recordings that the system automatically captures. I can also see the duration of the calls. I can see trackers. Trackers are words that are actually mentioned in the conversations that I want to monitor. Now, not only that I can see the top insights about how my team is behaving, I can also learn about what is going on in all the conversations. What are the customers talking about? What are their pain points? Which competition they are mentioning? So at the top, our assistant, and you can see it right here, is actually giving me the highlights. So it's listening to all of the conversations and telling me this is what's going on right now. When I'm looking into the specific content, and these are the sales team who are selling Azure, I can learn about words and keywords that are mentioned in these conversations. I'm quite surprised to see that actually Microsoft Teams is frequently mentioned when talking about Azure. Now with this data, I can now make sure that I train my people, I give them the right content to be able to upsell Microsoft Teams or to better tell the story around how to sell Microsoft Teams with Azure. I can also see here all the competition that is mentioned by customers. So the system automatically finds out which competitors are mentioned. If there is a new competitor, I make sure that the battle card is there for my sellers. So I'm able to empower my sellers with the right information. More than that, I can actually go and look at the specific behavior of my sellers. I can see here the sentiment of the overall calls, and I can also look at the sentiments per specific seller. And I can look at the conversation style. So we have a lot of metrics that tells me more about the conversation style of my sellers, and I can work with them and coach them to be better in that. So let's look at Jeff. Jeff is a new salesperson in my team, so I'm not surprised to see that listening versus talking for him is quite high. So the ratio means that he talks more than listening to the customer. I know that I need to continue and coach him with that. I can also look at Jeff's other conversational style. He has the highest average switch rate. So he's talking and switching too much between the customer and the seller, which he needs to improve. And I can look at other metrics like average talking speed and so on and so forth. It helps me to actually be better in coaching Jeff. What surprised me is that the assistant tells me that Jamie has the highest negative customer sentiment. Now, Jamie is quite an experienced salesperson. Let's figure out what's going on here. So I'm going into the sentiment view, and I can definitely see that Jamie is on top of all of the others. What I can do right now is drill into Jamie dashboard and see all the relevant information about Jamie. I see that overall, most of the metrics, the conversation style is quite good, but I'm still very worried about the negative sentiment. What I can see here is the average customer sentiment over all his calls. So I can start to drill into a specific call. Let's pick one of the highest negative sentiment calls, and it will open the specific call with that customer. And I can see here a timeline with whenever it was a positive sentiment or a negative sentiment. And I can even go into the transcript itself. So we automatically transcribe all the conversations. So as a manager, I can look into that. Let's jump into one of the low negative sentiments that I'm having here. And I can see here on the right in the trust script that the customer is actually trying to push back a little bit, maybe later, and then the seller is saying, no, you should try that. And the customer says, no, try it one. And we don't want our sellers to be too pushy in that perspective. So what I can do here is actually on the fly, add a comment, and Jamie will get that message. And next time in our one-on-one, I can sit with him and explain to him how he needs to change his conversational style, change the way he is interacting with customers. So what we saw here is that with Call Intelligence, we have this smart assistant that listens to all of the conversation with the customers, looking at all the interactions that they have with Office 365 on their phone calls, and helps me as a sales manager to better coach them, give them the tools, the right content to be much more effective. Isn't that cool? Thank you very much. And now I would like to invite Satish to talk about customer insights.
Cool. Thank you, Oren. So today I'm very excited to share more about Dynamics 365 Custom Insights, which is generally available starting today. Customer Insights enables every organization to bring all their customer data unified, be it transactional, observational, behavioral data, so they can derive intelligent insights and drive business processes. So as you can see here, there's a few ways we do this. The first thing is we eliminate data silos. So what that means is we allow you to bring in all your data, unified and stored securely in an Azure data lake in schematized form, which is a Microsoft Common Data Model. The second thing is we enrich it with Microsoft proprietary signals. So this includes things like brand affinity and interest at an aggregated level from the Microsoft Graph. Thirdly, we enable powerful AI and insights. So this includes things like being able to build custom machine learning models on top of that unified data, or using quick start templates such as templates for churn, etc. Lastly, and probably the most important thing, is being able to use all of this customer insights data to unlock business processes. So this includes out-of-the-box integrations with our Dynamics 365 applications, or using our Power Platform. So this really enables you to take all of this customer insights data to analyze further with Power BI, build custom applications and act with Power Apps, or do customer journey orchestration with Microsoft Flow. So before I step into a demo, we want to show you how Tivoli, which is one of our early adopter customers, is actually using custom insights. Let's roll the video.
Tivoli is the second oldest theme park in the world and the most popular attraction in Denmark, with more than 4.5 million guests each year.
In our gardens, we have the motto, always like never before, meaning a lot of things stays, but also we are introducing new rides every year. We are renewing ourselves.
One of the things we are proud of here in Tivoli is the focus on customer experience.
People come here for a lot of different reasons. Some come just to take a stroll, others with their kids to enjoy the rides, and each of their needs are different. And our job is to find out what they prefer and make sure that they enjoy their stay as much as possible.
We do have already data on our annual card holders, our ticket guests, even the rides will be registered. We want to take that together with the digital footprints, like newsletters sent out, website visits. The choice of Dynamics 365 Customer Insights make that data easily accessible, and we want to bring that together and to bring it live and actionable for the individual guests, so we basically can serve the individual much more targeted to make them come more often, stay longer, visit more rides, visit more restaurants.
If our guests have been reading about a special concert, we'll be able to make a personalized marketing promotion to that guest. And we created this loyalty program called Tivoli Lux, where we designed some special benefits driven by insights on their visits in the garden and their engagement.
The individual conductor may in the future approach a guest, know what concert you attended last summer, know what preference you have in food, beverage, rides, and actually find out how this conductor can serve that guest better.
We have a lot of different business types. Microsoft helps us to consolidate the input from the various systems, which helps us to succeed delivering above our guests' expectations.
We believe that customer insights can help us hit better And we can empower the employees with that knowledge to be even more personal, to have our guests be more pleased when they leave the garden.
The best part of my job is to be able to create personalized experience for our guests and to work in a magical place like this. Who could ask for more?
Great. I just love that customer story. So now what I'm going to show you is how Tivoli was able to use Customer Insights to do all of that. So first, as you can see here, Customer Insights is a finished SaaS application. So that means, there's no setup required. And the three key personas that we cater for is firstly the administrator or the data analyst, secondly the business analyst, and finally the business user who's consuming all of this stuff when they're doing their jobs. So first you can see here, and I'm going to step firstly into the administrator and the data analyst persona who wants to first bring all the data together. So here you can see that Tivoli has brought in data from their Dynamics 365 system, their ticketing system, the event calendar, all of these previously disparate data sources that they want to unify. And of course, Tivoli is not sitting still. They're a growing business. So in this case, they always have new data that they would like to bring into Customer Insights. So as you can see here, we use all the pre-built connectors available from the Power Platform, so you can connect to online sources and also on-prem sources using our gateways. The second thing that happens once you unify the data is, of course, being able to map it. So one of the things you'll notice here is Customer Insights automatically identifies what is in that data. So for example, we were able to identify the city, country, names, etc. So the goal here is, as much as possible, that you're able to automatically get through this. So we get you to the 90-yard line so you can get ahead with it. So in the case of a lot of customers, this is usually manual processes. So it takes weeks, if not months, of manual effort to do this mapping. And here we automatically do as much of that as possible as you get started. Once you've done the mapping, we get to the second stage of the unification process, which is matching. So matching is where we try to create keys where keys don't exist, right? So you have data coming in from your dynamic system, ticketing, surveys, and here you can guide Customer Insights to connect all of that data. Again, it's a very intuitive experience that you can do through Customer Insights. You can actually go in and specify precisions and how you want to map these things together. So for example, if you have names coming from two different sources, you can tell us what precision to go by. We even recommend some of these things based on the data types. So for example, if it's a marketing use case or a finance use case, you might go at different sides of the precision slide on this one. After you've done the matching aspects of it, then comes the merging, which is, you in some cases you might have conflicts for the same customer from different places. So you're able to guide Customer Insights to either choose a common one or the last updated one, or you could always override that with a specific source. And then we move on to the business analyst persona, which is, now that you've unified all of this data, you can actually do segmentation atop of that. So this is where, in the case of Tivoli, they want to basically take all of this data together and then analyze customers who are about to churn. So this is a very, again, intuitive experience where a business analyst that might not have a lot of SQL experience or detailed technical experience can actually go in, create queries on top of that unified data source. So here you can say customers in Denmark that are highly likely to churn, and all of that good stuff. So again, very intuitive, and all of this output of these segments are actually usable in other applications as well. And that is what I want to show next. So one of our key differentiators for Customer Insights is the fact that you can unlock all of this data using our Power Platform or using the APIs. So what this means is you can actually do deeper analysis on, for example, in this case, churn, using Power BI. You could build a custom application for your greeters in the amusement park using Power Apps, or do customer journey orchestration with Microsoft Flow. So one example I'm going to show you here is how Tivoli is able to take all of this churn data from the unified profiles into Power BI using our out-of-the-box connector and did more deeper churn analysis. So they're able to identify common patterns among customers that were highly likely to churn and not likely to churn, so they can make changes in how they serve customers and offers and loyalties that they give customers, etc. The last thing I want to touch on was, similar to the Power Platform, We also enable all of this customer insights information to show up in our Dynamics application. So what this means is, in the case of Tivoli, for an inside sales representative who's using Dynamics 365 for sales, they're able to see that single view of the customer right within the Dynamics 365 for sales instance. So you can see here, we have the profile, we have the timeline, all available to them. So ultimately, all of this information enables everybody in an organization to deliver personalized experience, ultimately increasing customer loyalty. So hopefully that gave you a good taste of what Customer Insights is, and with that, I'll hand off to Frank for the next product.
Thanks so much, Satish. That's always really exciting to see. Now, customer service these days can really make or break a brand and has become a key differentiator for organizations. Now, offering great customer service at scale, though, efficiently, is very, very hard. Now, I'm really excited because we have a new solution that I'm going to talk about today that will change all of that. Traditionally, virtual agents now have become a great way to engage with customers on these common support issues. It lets you automate them to eliminate the wait times. But normally, today, they require developers, AI experts, data scientists to build, and those are really expensive, and so a lot of companies are not really able to use their technology. So I'm very, very excited to announce that our new virtual agent for customer service will change all of this forever. We are going to empower the customer service experts, the people who know the product best, know how to talk to customers. They will be able to easily create these virtual agents, all without writing any code. And best of all, thanks to the integration with CDS and the Power Platform, the resulting virtual agents can easily provide personalized customer experience. They can drive actions and workflows to make sure that the virtual agent can really solve the customer's problem. Now, in addition, Customer In-Service Insights, which we launched last October, and hopefully you've tried out, provides an analytics solution that together with the virtual agent really creates this virtuous cycle now. So with Customer Service Insights, you can easily learn what are emerging support topics, for example, and I'll show that later in the demo. Once you have that, it helps you get the insights to really understand what is driving that change. Is it a new question, or does an old answer need to be updated maybe? Once you have that understanding, then our virtual agent for customer service now lets you easily build or update topics to respond to those and automate those, all without writing a single line of code. Deploy those updates, and now you can keep going around this continuous refinement to continue making your customer service better and better. And it really has never been as easy to transform your customer service experience. Now, let's go and take a look at just how easy it is. So I'm excited with HP. We actually have the current version of our technology, V1, already in production. And just to kind of show you quickly how this looks, right? This is a virtual agent that's live on, if you go to HP support, and I can go and ask, I have trouble printing, and it will go and suggest, possible answers like, did I update Windows recently, and so on. So this is the kind of system that we're talking about. And now, let me show you how easy it is with our new product, with the SaaS offering, to go and build that kind of solution. So let me switch to Customer Service Insights. This is the analytics solution that I talked about. And you can see here on the right, it basically gives you a great overview of your support situation at the moment. It lets you understand how many cases are open. Now, on the left side, what you see here, what just looks like a list of cases, is actually the result of our NLP, our natural language processing. We're automatically looking at your cases, and thanks to our natural language understanding, we can actually go and cluster them without any human needing to label them. So we automatically identify which cases really are about the same topic. By doing this, it means we can now do analysis like emerging topics. It means we can show you not just what are the key topics that you already have all the time coming in that you're probably familiar with, but we can show you what are new topics that are being raised well before they become very large in volume. And so here, for example, we see not being able to print on the Tango X. Let's say that's a new printer we just released. It is suddenly becoming an emerging topic. I can now go and drill in and look here at only the cases that have this topic. I can, for example, learn that for just this topic, Salim seems to be having a lot of unresolved cases, and I can see, he's in the bottom 5 of resolve times, and probably as a result, it looks like his CSAT is in the bottom 5 as well. So a great opportunity to go and train Salim on this specific topic. It's this kind of granularity that you couldn't really get otherwise. We also see here that for people engaging through the website, they seem to have trouble finding the right answers, and you see that the CSAT is quite negatively impacted through this. And so this is a great opportunity to go and automate this through a virtual agent. And so let me show you the virtual agent builder. So this is now the new product that's going to be available in this cycle. Very, very excited. And as you can see, here I already started a conversation using the tracing feature, and this is really the editing surface. As you can see, it's very straightforward and intuitive. It really is a bit like a flowchart that you might use in your call centers today. So let me continue the conversation that I started here. So you see that I can use these variables. That means that my conversation is very personalized. Here it already looked up that, what kind of printer I purchased, and I tell it, yes, this is correct. And as it now goes through this conversation, you see here, I just encoded the responses as yes and no, and it will go and hopefully tell me that it can go and look up. Let me just restart this conversation. Looks like something timed out. So as you see, when you start a conversation, I can take you all the way up here. Really, all you need to do is go and use one of the trigger phrases. And once you use one of the trigger phrases, you can go and look up here, for example, what happened on the Tango X. So in this case, it used the flow integration that we have to go and talk to the database, talk to CDS, and it looked up what printer I had, and now it talked to the printer itself. It started a workflow that actually engaged with the device, and then it told me what issue it will find. So let's try this. You see here, I'm going through this, and I'm going now to the flow. Microsoft Flow, of course, comes with hundreds of connectors out of the box, so it makes it very easy to connect to backend systems. It goes and troubleshoots this. It connected to the printer, told me that it looks like I probably didn't remove the protective tape. Now, with this virtual agent, it's not just easy to go and add more stops and have the engagement as you want, but it also makes it very easy to integrate with other processes. In this case, for example, now that it says I solved my issue, I can actually go and look at how many cartridges did this person purchase. And I can have a flow where, in this case, you purchase a lot of cartridges. I can actually go and connect you to a human agent to continue the sales process and actually now offer me the ink subscription that HP has. And so as I do this and as I say, yes, I would like to learn more, it will then go and propose to connect me to a human agent. And this then is where I can go here into Dynamics 365, the customer service hub, where with the omnichannel integration, we can now actually transfer the entire conversation to the human agent. So you don't have to do the dreaded, please tell me what your problem is again. Instead, the conversation is transferred to the human agent, including a summary. And so now the seller can go and continue and explain the benefits of this program. I hope that really showed how easy it is to build these personalized virtual agents. And with this, Mohammed, why don't you tell us more about finance and operation? Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. So it's my pleasure here to share with you some of the capabilities that are coming in finance and operations with our April wave. Finance and operations, just as a quick reminder, has a set of capabilities that allow our customers to run fairly complex operations across a diverse spectrum of industries in our business application. So for instance, if you're in the business of building stuff, we've got a robust set of manufacturing capabilities that allow you to do discrete, process, lean, mixed mode manufacturing all within Dynamics 365. If you're in the distribution business, we've got advanced supply chain and deep warehouse management and transportation management capabilities that allows you to run your distribution operations on Dynamics 365. And if you happen to be in retail, we can help you run omni-channel commerce on Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. And similarly, if you're in the business of professional services, we've got an application for that as well. We also support not just industry capabilities, but a set of horizontal applications that allow you to run your global financial management operations as well as core human capital management operations in finance and operations as well. And in fact, we see, looking at the telemetry, that most of our customers, about 70% plus of our customers in finance and operations, actually do use our manufacturing and distribution capabilities. We've got more than 40% of the customers that have trusted us to run their core retail operations in Dynamics 365, as well as about 90% plus of our customers actually use financial management capabilities that are natively available in finance and operations. This is the frame we're actually going to use to actually quickly look through some of the capabilities that are now coming as part of the April wave. So let's start with manufacturing and operations, manufacturing and distribution. In manufacturing, we're excited about launching a new planning service that's completely re-architected in memory that allows you to run planning essentially in minutes, if not seconds in some cases. Something that used to take our customers overnight, if you will, to run, or take customers of any application, if you will, overnight to go complete. This allows them to be a lot more agile in a changing economy or in a changing world. We've also significantly enhanced the field service to finance and operations integrations as well for customers that use our Dynamics 365 for field service operations, as well as through the course of last year, we announced a set of IP rights acquisitions, partnering with a few of our most popular ISVs in finance and operations. And we're pleased to announce that some of those capabilities are now landing in our core operations applications, starting with the April wave. One such feature being catch weight management, that essentially is super critical for our customers in the process manufacturing space to be able to completely run their operations all the way from manufacturing to warehouse management and financials, and be able to kind of track all the nuances that they need to for the process manufacturing business. The feature that we're super excited about in manufacturing that we're also landing in our April wave is called connected manufacturing. And this essentially allows an organization to collect signals live from equipment on the shop floor through Azure IoT Hub and into Dynamics 365 for finance and operation, that allows them to actually enable a set of high-value business functions within finance and operations, such as task automations, where you can automatically record both the consumption of your raw materials as well as the completion of the finished goods. You can do predictive maintenance if you feel that the equipment is about to go unhealthy, and then do some replanning to protect the orders that you have committed to your customers. We're pleased to announce that for connected manufacturing, we're already working with a couple of our customers who both have provided feedback to make sure what we're building is high value, but also are leveraging the capabilities already in their systems to be able to bring business value back to their organizations. One of these customers is Majans, who's based out of Australia, and the other one, Lightens, who's based in Canada. Moving on to the retail side of the capabilities that are coming in the fall release, we're excited about our first-party omni-channel payment gateway that we're providing as part of Microsoft to help our customers get a complete solution from us in the retail space, as well as significant enhancements we've made in the loyalty space to really help our customers keep track and engage their customers more effectively if they're in the retail operations as well. The capability that I'll highlight here is the capability that we're excited about that highlight here is Cloud Scale Unit. We landed that in the fall release last year, but we've enabled this essentially to be a multi-geo scale-out capability now, which essentially means that if you're running a global operations with your channel all around the world, your stores or your e-commerce, you're able to scale out and put a scale unit closer to where your customers are to reduce any latency effects that might be there in the experience of either your store associates or your end customers. This is something, again, that we've been working very closely with one of our customers in Australia, Michael Hill, that has operations, again, globally, and has been able to see significant improvements back to how their store associates work in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. Moving on to financial management and globalization, we're always looking at how do we improve the user experience of our applications. And one area that we've historically gotten a lot of feedback is the time entry and expense entry experience. So I'm pleased to announce we have redesigned that with our April release, not just to be highly productive for your users, but also essentially be a delightful experience, something that they would actually enjoy doing as well. So that's the bar we set for ourselves from a user experience perspective, and we're pleased to bring that experience in the time and expense functions for finance and operations. Another piece of IP that we had acquired, partnering up with one of our ISVs last year, was revenue recognition. And we're pleased to announce that that's going to be available starting with the April launch as well. And that essentially allows our customers to really take advantage of the new subscription economy or anything as a service economy, and being able to account for it in the financial application as well. We've also made significant enhancements to the electronic reporting capability that we have, which essentially allows our customers to comply with ever-changing financial regulations in a configurable manner, as opposed to having to customize it all the time as well. And through our telemetry, we already see that our customers are actually using this configurable experience to be compliant in about 20 more countries around the world than we actually provide standard localizations for from a Microsoft standpoint. InnoFactor is one such customer that has leveraged this configurable capability to be able to really be compliant in all the geographies that they have business in. And then finally, I'll close out with a set of topics and set of capabilities that are available across the finance and operations applications, such as enhanced analytics story with being able to bring your data into an Azure data lake, a lot of self-service capabilities, so we're providing the control back to you as our customers and to our partners, business events that helps you do a lot better integration and integrate with Flow as well. And then finally, we're pleased to bring you the one version experience, which essentially means that starting with the April release, we're going to keep your finance and operations and retail applications evergreen. So this literally would be the last upgrade or the last implementation you'll ever have to do for your ERP. And we make all the right commitments from a backwards compatibility perspective, as well as a lot of control from a feature set perspective, but you'll stay evergreen in the one version model. And we provide a level of specificity from a control perspective to our customers that allows you to select not just the week of the month you want the updates, but the day of the week as well as the time of the day as well. So you can actually have full predictability around this update experience. We're getting really positive feedback from our customers. Bestseller is one such customer who runs complex retail operations in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. And this has really enabled them to be able to both innovate faster, drive a better experience to their store associates and to their employees, as well as stay current as well with the capabilities that we're bringing to them. With that, I'll hand it over to Lydia, who'll talk about Dynamics 365 for fraud protection.
Thank you. E-commerce has a secret. Whilst the space is booming, with nearly $4 trillion in revenue predicted in the retail space in 2020, 2.2% of this revenue goes straight to fraudulent transactions. This amounts to $90 billion in losses each year, along with $175 billion in associated costs. Whilst merchants are delighted at the increasing revenue, they're shocked at increased costs due to liability shift with card-not-present transactions. At Microsoft, we face the same problem. Across both our in-store and online channels, we were hit by high fraud costs. We looked out to the market and couldn't find a vendor to meet our needs. So we went ahead and designed a solution in-house. This solution focuses on finding the right balance between reducing fraudulent transactions without blocking legitimate transactions we receive from our customers. Our internal solution protects against payment fraud and much more, managing over 1.1 billion transactions per year and saving Microsoft over $1 billion in fraud stopped. The solution has been nominated for the Inform Franz Edelman Award in 2019. The solution we delivered for Microsoft uses the same technology that we are now commercializing. With Dynamics 365 Fraud Protection, we are combining all our expertise as a merchant with Microsoft's AI and fraud protection technology and access to a depth of data that other solution providers don't have access to. We aim to help customers with 3 outcomes. Firstly, help reduce fraud and fraud-related costs through our connected graph and advanced AI that adapts to the changing fraud landscape. We do this in the following way. The product builds a graph of data that provides a view of fraudulent behaviour across participating fraud protection customers, while still helping to protect the privacy of shoppers and the competitive intelligence of merchants. Another benefit of the unique data in the connected graph is that customers have immediate access to the extensive fraud protection intelligence Microsoft has gained as one of the world's largest e-commerce merchants. The result of all of this is fraud protection customers get high accuracy fraud assessments delivered by advanced adaptive AI that uses both their own real-time data and that of the connected graph. Secondly, we increase our customers' revenues by ensuring more of their legitimate customer transactions go through. We're doing this in combination with innovative bank and issuer partnerships that share fraud-related information, which can ultimately help to increase acceptance rates. And finally, we improve your customers' experience by reducing wrongful rejections and lowering friction during the buying experience. In the event that a legitimate transaction gets blocked, we provide tools to help your customer support quickly resolve the problem. Our experience with customers so far has highlighted that they come from both ends of the spectrum. Some customers have sophisticated industry-specific fraud management tools and come to Microsoft to enrich their machine learning models, whilst other customers have very basic functionality and little understanding of where to begin to improve their fraud prevention today. We are able to meet our customers wherever you are in your fraud protection journey. So let's take a look at the demo. I'm a fraud manager, and in our organization today, we have very basic fraud prevention capability. And I'm looking for a tool that will help me to find areas to improve our fraud protection. So we start with the diagnose experience. This is a differentiated experience from Microsoft, as I, as the fraud manager, can preview the product's ability to detect fraud in my own business before I deploy a proof of concept, which ultimately helps me to justify the investment. Diagnose is a 3-step process. Step 1, I go ahead and upload my historical data. Now this will include things like transactions, payment instruments, and chargeback data. Once I've uploaded my data, I can go ahead and run the data diagnostic report. This is ultimately going to identify gaps in my historical data. And I can see here there's 2 key gaps in the dates, and I can also see if I scroll down, it's highlighting I should improve the payment instrument type data that I've uploaded. What's great is I can go ahead and I can improve the quality of my historical data before I move on to step 3, where we deliver the full risk report. Once I go to this, it's going to start to summarize patterns across the data across my business. And it's ultimately presenting me with AI analysis of fraud protection and revenue opportunities. And what it will allow me to do is go in and adjust the operating characteristics of the model to see the effect that that has on my business. I can then go ahead and proceed with a proof of concept in my live transaction environment. So I continue to use this tool over the coming months, and it actually helps me to justify changes to our fraud prevention. We get more sophisticated, and we start to include real-time payment transactions using fraud protection APIs, along with machine learning, connected graph, device fingerprinting, and trust knowledge integration with issuers. This can help to improve acceptance rates and reduce the number of fraudulent transactions. But as ever, the fraud landscape continues to change. And I've identified there's some higher risk payment instruments, and I want to adjust the operating point of the model using the Virtual Fraud Analyst. Now, the Virtual Fraud Analyst helps me to look at specific segments so that I can see the impact of the fraud driven by that segment. And it's going to show me how much fraud is stopped versus how many good transactions I'm actually letting in. And the key is to find the right balance. If I come here and move the model operating point, just a few points, we can actually see how easy it is to significantly increase the number of sales by thousands, but actually only let in a very small number of fraudulent transactions. Now, the cost of these fraudulent transactions are easily covered by the profit margins on the increase in sales. So I can put these changes into production. Now, all good fraud models stop some good customer transactions from coming through, and I need a support tool that can help me in this scenario. Summer, a customer of ours, has had a transaction rejected. Now, that's for a few reasons. Firstly, she has high PI velocity, which ultimately means she's done many transactions in a short period of time. Now, that, combined with the fact that her billing and shipping addresses have a large distance between them, means her transaction has been rejected. Now, when I look at her profile, we can see she has a good history of spend, and there's actually no record of fraud on her account. And when I speak to Summer, she lets me know this is a gift for a family member who lives on the other side of the country. So I've identified that this is clearly a legitimate transaction, and I can go ahead and add her to a temporary safe list so she can successfully make that transaction for her family member. Now, using embedded Power BI, I'm presented with a scorecard that clearly demonstrates all of the impact of the work I've been doing using Dynamics 365 Fraud Protection. I can see our month-to-month performance of the fraud protection system, and I can easily filter this data and give access to relevant users. And crucially, I can then bubble this information up to our business leaders so that they can clearly understand the impact of fraud protection on their business. So in summary, Dynamics 365 Fraud Protection combines Microsoft's expertise as one of the world's largest e-commerce merchants with our comprehensive AI and fraud protection technology to deliver a solution that, working alongside bank and issuer partnerships, can help our customers to increase revenue, lower fraud-related costs, and deliver a better experience to your customers. Thank you. And I'm going to hand over to Oren.
Thank you very much. So good morning again, and I'm super excited now because we are announcing another brand new product, Microsoft Forms Pro. Microsoft Forms Pro is a comprehensive enterprise-grade survey tool that it's easy to use but give you all the power of a survey tool. Businesses today need to be on top of their customer experience. They need to listen to the voice of their customers. They need to listen to their employees. But the pain points that we have today with existing survey tools is that they are disconnected from the business process. So this is what we are changing today. With Microsoft Forms Pro, which is built on top of the success of Microsoft Forms, a light survey tool that already used by millions of users, we are building now Forms Pro on top of the Common Data Service, plug into all the power and the greatness of the Power Platform. So with that, businesses can not only listen to the customers, but they can personalize the experience leveraging all the data in CDS. They can also act on this data at the right time as part of their business process. So let's take a look at how our customers are already using Microsoft Forms Pro. So one of these customers is Der Touristik Nordic. Through their network, there are more than 7 million travelers who are using our survey tool and letting Der Touristik to know what they are feeling about their travels. Let's see how it works in action. So immediately when I open my Forms Pro, you can see how simple it is to use. It leverages the easy user experience from Office, but gives me all the power of an enterprise-grade survey tool. I can actually put all the information that I want. I can change the background. I can put the logo. I can make it very personalized also by enabling data to come from CDS, from the Common Data Service. So for example, here in these questions, I can use the first name and last name and the travel destination coming from the CRM system, or I can use any other data that I want to leverage in my questions. And I have different types of questions that I can use here. For example, I can ask them, how likely are you to recommend to a friend or colleague, which is the Net Promoter Score, NPS. What I can do also is change and branch actually the following questions based on their answer and build different questions for an awesome trip, or try to understand better what was wrong in the other trips as well. So after I'm done with my survey, I can actually go and send the survey. And here we are enabling different ways to use as a distribution channel for the survey. I can go into an email experience, and in the email experience, I can again use a specific template with all the brand information, using CDS data from my CRM system to personalize the experience for my users. I can also send it as a QR code, or I can embed it as a link in another experience. I can embed it into my mobile experience or my web experience. But if we look at many of our customers, like Dare Touristic, they actually wanted to be part of the business process. They want to make sure that every time a traveler finishes their travel, they will immediately get a survey. And for that, they can use Microsoft Flow to integrate that into their business flow. So I can go and configure Microsoft Flow to say, whenever the traveler finishes their travel, getting this information from the CRM system or for any other system, send them a survey and ask about their experience. And again, I can personalize that with all the data that exists in our common data service. Now let's go and look how it looks when a traveler receives the survey. It could be on his mobile device or web. In this case, it's a web experience. It tells me, "Hi, Oren, what do you think about the recent travel?" Let's say usually with Dare Touristic, I'm super happy, but let's say this specific hotel was really not to my standard, so I was not so happy. You will see here that if I click on a high NPS, the question will be about how awesome it was, but I was not so happy. So I will give a 4, and it will ask me, "Oh, we are so sorry." So the personalization is embedded into the server experience, and I can type why the experience was not so good. And it will ask me also about specific facility, and also here, based on my answer, different questions will pop up, which is personalized to the specific experience or to the specific question that I'm asking. So let's fill all of that. Let's say the spa was actually quite good, and I will submit the survey. Now, going back, I can actually now go and view the responses. So I can drill with analytics, leveraging Power BI, see what is going on across all my travelers. I can see that overall the average rating is quite high, and I can see that the NPS is also quite impressive. And for each question, so for the awesome trips, we are leveraging machine learning to give you sentiment analysis and showing you the most common words used. So we can definitely see that most people are experiencing a safe and comfortable place, and the people that are not so happy have an unfriendly staff. So I can actually go and follow up with some of the providers. And I can see more analytics on top of that. But what's important is that in survey tools is that I want to quickly act on the response of the customer experience. So since we are built on top of the common data service embedded into your business application, when I'm switching into my Dynamics 365 experience, a representative can go into a specific contact, see exactly that a survey was sent and that he was responding to that. But even more than that, we have the relationship assistant. We have our AI-based recommendation that tells me, Tim was just answering a survey and it was not so happy. So I know that from here, I need to contact him, call him, and make sure he retained as a customer and will take another travel with us and maybe compensate him for that experience. So with Microsoft Forms Pro, we see how we make the pain point of having a survey tool disconnected from your business process different now. You can leverage CDS to get more personalized experience with all the data from CDS, and you can merge that into the business process so the survey gets to the customer on time, and you can even act from Dynamics 365 based on these results. And with that, I want to switch to Lorraine to talk about the amazing innovation in mixed reality. Hi, Lorraine.
Thank you, Oren. So last September, we announced that we were bringing the first 2 mixed reality business applications to the Dynamics 365 family. Those were Remote Assist and Layout. And we also shared that these are products that are built for and with first-line workers. So first-line workers are the more than 2 billion people globally who move around the world to do their work. They're working in manufacturing, they're working in field service, in healthcare, and retail. And they use their hands all day long to do their work. And this means that they've been traditionally really underserved by existing technology because you need to use your hands for input or to carry the technology around. Now, mixed reality devices like HoloLens and HoloLens 2 really provide a breakthrough for these workers because for the first time, they provide them heads-up, hands-free functionality, heads-up, hands-free computing right in the flow of their work. This means they can bring data, digital content, collaboration, instructions right into the context of their work with products like Remote Assist and Layout. Now, in working with customers, we've also found another gap where we think we can help. So these first-line workers around the world, they're retiring very, very rapidly. In fact, in the next 10 years, more than 25% of skilled first-line workers will retire, all at a time when these industries are becoming more and more complex, with complex products and equipment and environments that are very, very difficult to learn on the job. So as those workers retire, they take all that knowledge out the door with them, which leaves the new workers without their mentors to help them get started. As you can imagine, traditional classroom training isn't a great fit for these types of roles either because it's so distant from the work that they're actually doing. So we think there's an opportunity here to help with on-the-job training. And for this, we have created a new application that is in public preview right now called Dynamics 365 Guides. Now, what Guides does is it provides real-time, on-the-job training available right in the context of the worker's environment, putting instructions exactly where they need them to be effective. And we're really excited to see the progress that Guides is going to enable these workers and empower them to learn on the job, really real time, accelerate their learning, and also just if they're doing a new role, a new product has come online, help them jumpstart and accelerate. So one of the things I've found is that it's one thing to describe a holographic application, it's another thing to see it in action. So let's see Guides in action with a worker on her first day of work using HoloLens 2.
Work today is more complicated than ever. The old ways of training cannot get new employees up to speed as fast as the experienced people are retiring. We need a better way forward. Introducing Dynamics 365 Guides. Simple step-by-step instructions are easily written on a PC, and then holographic parts and icons are simply picked up and placed on the machine where the work is happening. From day one, employees are often expected to get work done, but the complexity can be overwhelming. Now, employees can learn by doing. This is a tool that works with existing processes, allowing a manager to get the right guides to their people. The instructions move with the employees, pointing them to the tools and parts they need, showing them exactly where they need to apply them. Employees get up to speed faster, with fewer errors and more confidence. A simple glance moves them through the instructions, meaning their hands are free to do the work. They can learn at their own pace without having to rely on other workers around them. The overall experience is comfortable and intuitive. For the first time, a manager can see detailed information about how the employees are working and how their skills are growing. This makes continuous improvement faster than ever before. All of this helps employees make the complex simple, so they can learn and adapt faster and organizations can stay competitive.
Now, Remote Assist has been in market since October, and since then we've been working closely with customers as they deploy into their operations. We've been doing monthly updates and really trying to be as responsive as we possibly can to their needs. And in April, with the April release, we have a couple of major updates to Dynamics 365 Remote Assist. For example, it's going to be available on HoloLens 2 as soon as HoloLens 2 is in market. We're also releasing a new feature called group calling. So what this means is that for the first time, the first-line worker can not only call in that one expert anywhere in the world, they can actually bring a team together to help them solve that problem the first time and really see into their world and solve the problem all together. So we're really excited about group calling. It's based on a lot of customer feedback. Now, there's another area that customers have talked to us, and it's a new feature that we're announcing. It's actually a major new extension of Remote Assist. For the first time, we're making Remote Assist available on mobile phones, starting with Android phones using the AR Core augmented reality functionality that's available. And so this is feedback from customers that while phones don't provide that complete heads-up, hands-free functionality we were talking about earlier, there are definitely scenarios where it's useful to have some of this mixed reality capability right in the device that might be in your pocket already. So those scenarios, for example, when the whole workforce doesn't have access yet to a mixed reality device like HoloLens, or for example, when there's just a simple fix that needs to be done, or maybe a remote inspection that can be done quickly using a phone on site. Now, these products are all built, integrated with a common data service, and Remote Assist is also integrated out of the box with Dynamics 365 Field Service. So let's take a look at how Remote Assist on mobile works together with Remote Assist on HoloLens 2 in action.
What if there was a way for employees to work together from anywhere when everything is on the line? Employees are the heart of every business. It's their resourcefulness, ingenuity, and drive that get the job done. But even the best employees need help from people who aren't there with them. Now employees on site can work side by side with experts in remote locations. In an instant, they can share what they see, lend a helping hand, walk through the process step by step, helping solve problems in real time. This is a new vision for work. Now employees can work smarter and bring in the people they need with just a tap. They can troubleshoot, repair, and perform with confidence and speed. They can move freely, pull critical information into view, and stay focused on the task. Their hands free to do the work. This is collaborative problem solving at full speed. Your people, united across time and distance, more connected, more informed, and more efficient. Now employees can work together from anywhere. They can go there without being there. This isn't the future. This is here and now.
And there's one more product I wanted to talk about before I wrap my section. And this is a new product that we've just released today to public preview. It's called Dynamics 365 Product Visualize. I'm really excited about this one. It's the first mixed reality business application that we're releasing first on mobile and tablet. And that's because that's what we're hearing from customers. That's how it will first help solve some of these problems they're encountering. So remember I mentioned that devices and equipment and products are really hard to learn for training and development because they're increasingly complex and configurable, like equipment in manufacturing or on the factory floor. They're also difficult to sell. It's hard to describe. You can't bring them with you to the buyer and help them understand the product in context. So that's what Product Visualize does. The seller is able to bring with them just the mobile phone or tablet they already have, and then work together with the buyer to reach a shared understanding of the product. They can use these mixed reality capabilities on the iOS phone or tablet using ARKit to look through the screen and see that product at life size in context, exactly where it's going to be deployed. And not only that, They can work together real time, make annotations, reduce the need for change orders, and a bunch of repeat visits in this highly competitive marketplace. And so we're really excited about how Product Visualize can help sellers communicate more effectively with buyers, reach a shared understanding, and then most importantly, a buyer can have a lot of confidence in the decision they're making, make that decision and get back to optimal operations as quickly as possible. So let's see Product Visualize in action.
In sales, work is about building customer relationships. Dynamics 365 for Sales with Product Visualize can help you communicate more effectively with your customers, streamlining the sales process.
Hi, thank you so much for meeting with me today.
Of course, thanks for driving out here. So why don't we head on up to the conference room? I'm just going to level with you. I'm having some trouble deciding between your company's product and a competitor.
You know what? Why don't you take me to the factory floor and I can show it to you?
Really? Okay, well, let's try that out.
Product Visualize allows you to show your customers a mixed reality view of the products they're interested in.
Once you see our model, I think it'll help you make a decision. Take a look at that.
Oh, wow. You know, that actually fits better than what I was expecting.
Please, I want you to have a go. Take a look.
Great.
You can view the product and discuss it as if it's physically there.
Oh, wow. So this model has 2 emergency switches, but I don't know about the fan being here. The panel's normally on that side.
Ah, okay. We can totally change that. We'll just make a note really quick.
You can take notes directly on the product.
Okay, great. Is there anything else?
Yes, actually. Here, the base plate, that sticks out too far.
No worries. Let me send this off to our technical specialist, and he'll let us know our options.
And invite your team back at the office into the conversation.
He says all the changes are doable.
That's great.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know what to expect, but this whole thing has been super helpful. So if you could send me a proposal as soon as you can.
Sure. Oh yeah, I'll work on it right away. Thank you so much for meeting with me today. It was a pleasure.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah.
Product Visualize helps everyone involved reach a shared understanding, giving your customers the confidence they need to make decisions faster.
Thank you very much, Lorraine. So we've taken a tour now across a lot of Dynamics 365, a lot of our new applications, new capabilities in our existing applications. And we've also talked a lot about the Power Platform and how it provides an opportunity for users and administrators of Dynamics 365 to extend, to integrate, to customize, to tailor Dynamics 365 applications to their unique needs. But there's also a time when, there's not an app for that. If you've got very specific processes that are unique to your organization, where you want to digitally transform, connect with data, create intelligence, create a more proactive process, the Power Platform can also work in a standalone basis. And so if you look at what we've built with the Power Platform, it combines Power BI, Power Apps, and Microsoft Flow with a collection of connectors and the common data service to allow you to analyze, to act, and to automate. So starting with data, Power BI allows you to analyze and to gain intelligence, insight that you can then use to create applications, mobile web applications with Power Apps that use that intelligence to act differently in a business context, or Microsoft Flow to automate your business processes. And then the output of both Power Apps and Flow goes right back into those data sources or the common data service, allowing you to continuously improve your operation. Arun Ulag is going to show us some of the new capabilities that we're shipping this cycle in Power BI.
As James talked about, data is coming from pretty much everywhere, whether it's transactional systems of record or systems of observation like IoT devices, product telemetry, or human interaction. Power BI is about helping customers drive a data culture where every employee in the organization can harness the power of all of that data and make decisions based on facts, not just opinions. Over the last 6 months, we've delivered a ton of new capabilities that really push the boundary of what customers can do with BI systems, being able to analyze petabytes of data with Power BI with point-and-click efficiency, or simply to be able to roll out Power BI to tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of employees. Today, I'm going to focus on one of those areas of innovation, which is around the work we're doing with artificial intelligence to bring those capabilities to Power BI. At Microsoft, we are fortunate because we have thousands of AI researchers that are making fundamental advancements in the field of artificial intelligence. Whether it's vision, speech, or natural language, Microsoft has achieved human-level parity over the last couple of years. In the Power BI team, we're working to take all of this innovation and applying it towards business intelligence. We want to make it easy for every single Power BI user to be able to get insights from their data by leveraging a lot of these capabilities. So when we think about our AI investments and making AI pervasive in Power BI, there are 3 areas I wanted to call out. The first is in the big data foundation. So this is about Power BI data flows, enabling every business analyst to connect to any data source and build sophisticated data transformation pipelines without writing any code whatsoever. The second is to help non-data scientists, business analysts, business users, etc., be able to take advantage of pre-built machine learning models, as well as build new machine learning models using automated machine learning technology in Power BI. And third is using our new class of visualizations called AI visualizations that take the power of AI and make it easy for customers to be able to understand their data. One of the customers that we've been working very closely with is Medtronic. Medtronic is the world's largest medical device manufacturer. They have over 100,000 employees around the world, and they use Power BI to drive a data culture within their organization. The problem that we've been working to help Medtronic solve is to how to reduce or eliminate products on back order. When products go on back order, you have lost revenue, deferred sales, and unhappy customers. So we're helping Medtronic tackle this problem by helping them solve 2 specific issues. One is to be able to predict which products are likely to go on back order so they can take corrective action by distributing the inventory. And second, be able to identify systemic issues within their supply chain process so this process doesn't happen in the first place. And this is a fairly complex problem for Medtronic because they have over 2 million combinations of product and location. So let me show you a demo of how some of this works. So I'm going to go over to my PC. And here, what you can see is that I'm using Power BI data flows to be able to take data from across the supply chain and bring it together into a single consolidated view. You can see how I'm taking supply planning data, demand forecast data, as well as warehouse telemetry to bring that together into a supply chain final view. When I look into this final view, I see this back orders table. And here I've created all the fields that allow me to go put the data together so I can build a predictive model. All I need to do to build a new machine learning model here is click on this icon and click Add a Machine Learning Model. So this leverages Power BI's new automated machine learning capability. I need to pick which field I want to predict, and I'm going to predict the on back order field, and I click Next. And when this happens, Power BI is now analyzing the data in the table, and it's analyzing this particular field to recommend the type of machine learning model that might be appropriate for this particular situation. Because this is the binary field, it's recommending a binary prediction machine learning model. I can also choose a different machine learning model if I wanted to. You can see that we have a number of machine learning models that we provide. But then I'm going to stick with binary prediction and click Next. And when I click Next, what happens is Power BI looks at the fields in this particular table and makes an intelligent recommendation of which fields should be considered for that particular machine learning model. This list looks good to me, so I'm going to click Next. And that's kind of pretty much all I need to do. So at this point, all I need to do is name the model. I'm going to call it back order risk. I need to add a couple of information about how to flag the positive outcomes and the negative outcomes, and that's pretty much it. At this point, Power BI's automated machine learning technology takes over, and it does a number of things. It analyzes the fields in my table to figure out which fields might be impactful. It figures out which algorithm it needs to use for machine learning, and it also determines which parameters to use with that algorithm. So it iterates through a whole bunch of combinations until it converges on the best and most optimal model. So it also builds a model performance report that I can understand to see what just happened with the machine learning model that was built. So I'm going to not build the machine learning model from scratch right now to save time, but I'm going to go with the machine learning model that I've already built using the same data set. So here I can understand the model performance of the machine learning model that Power BI built. I can understand which algorithm was used. I can also understand important statistics like precision and recall. Now, if I'm a data scientist, I know what all of this means, but for business analysts, we have provided helpful information on the right-hand side that help them understand the performance of the machine learning model. I'm pretty happy with the outcomes I have here, so I'm going to hit Apply Model, and then I'm going to go to Power BI so that I can understand what Power BI is telling me about predicting the locations where I have back order risk. So on the map on the left-hand side, I can see that I have quite a few products in the US that are likely to be on back order, so I'm going to click on that. And this table on the right shows me the products that are likely to be on back order, that are predicted to be on back order, and it shows me the back order risk, and it shows me that by distribution center and location. So if I click on the first row here, for this particular product and location combination, what you see in the waterfall chart above is pretty cool, because not only is Power BI predicting this model to be at a high risk of back order, but it's also showing me why Power BI thought this product is likely to be on back order, which is a combination of factors. That's because inventory is low, this particular forecast accuracy has not been good, and manufacturing is a little bit behind in their production. So these three combination of factors taken together elevate the risk of this product being on back order. There is one factor that reduces the risk, but overall the risk of back order is still pretty high. So right now, right in this table, I get a quick view of the products that are likely to be on back order across my whole distribution by location. Now I can take corrective action right here and redistribute my inventory so that I can actually fix this problem before customers experience it. The second capability I wanted to show you is how Power BI can help you understand systemic issues in your supply chain. And here we're using a new type of visualization called AI visualization. And this is an AI visualization because it uses advanced AI algorithms like logistic regressions and decision trees to help you understand what's going on with your business. So if I go into edit mode, what you can see here is that this particular visualization is trying to help me understand which products go on back order. Right? So all I need to do is select this visualization and then go and pick factors that I think could potentially have an impact. I'm going to start with something pretty simple. So I'm going to pick forecast accuracy. So when I pick forecast accuracy, Power BI is running a logistic regression, and it's telling me that when forecast accuracy is below 50%, products are 1.4 times more likely to be on back order. And that kind of makes sense. I'm not surprised by that outcome. But here's what I can do. I can go ahead and add additional parameters. So I can add forecast bias, and I can add manufacturing. I can also add product category. So what you see happening is that each time I add one of these parameters, Power BI is running this logistical regression over and over again and re-ranking these features so that it's telling me which one is the most important that drives products to be on back order. You can see that forecast accuracy, that thing that we started with, has slipped to somewhere in the middle, and there are other factors that materially change why my products actually get on back order. The last thing I wanted to show you is how Power BI automatically segments my data to identify categories of customers that are likely to be at risk of back order. So when I click on low value stable goods, I can see that 14.7% of my customers of my products are likely to be in back order when forecast accuracy is below 50% and manufacturing is behind plan. So very quickly you were able to see three things. One, how Power BI was able to help you build a big data foundation and create sophisticated data transformation pipelines so you can bring data together. Second, how we are creating, enabling business analysts to build automated machine learning models using our new automated machine learning technology. And third, a new class of AI visualizations that make it very easy for business users to get insights from the data. So now I'm going to transition to Charles Lamanna to talk about Power Apps and Flow. Charles.
Thank you, Arun. So as James talked about earlier, with the April release, we made a big investment in making sure that the Power Platform across Power Apps, Power BI, and Microsoft Flow were better integrated than ever. This allows you to very easily analyze, act, and automate across your business with writing low or no code. One of the big announcements is that we now have full solutioning support for Canvas applications, custom connectors, as well as flows, so they can easily move with application lifecycle management solutions from production to sandbox environments and back and forth. Additionally, another big announcement is that inside of model-driven forms in Power Apps, you can now easily embed Power BI reports. These reports can even take the context from the Power App so that you can actually drill into a very specific context or piece of information right in the context of your overall Power App. And lastly, we've made several new enhancements from a performance and usability perspective for the ability to embed a Power App inside a Power BI dashboard. Altogether, it makes it so that whether you're in Power Apps, Power BI, or Flow, you can use the entire Power Platform very easily. And although we've always made it very simple to create applications, dashboards, and automations using the Power Platform, Another big investment we're doing is to make sure that we make those high quality and high performance solutions. So one of the core offerings we have is what's called the Solution Checker, which is now available across all geographies, which will analyze everything inside the Common Data Service. This is plugins, client-side JavaScript, entity schema, and more to make sure that you're building a high performance, high scale, and highly usable solution for your end users. Additionally, we're happy to announce the Flow Checker, which is an easy-to-use experience right inside of the Flow Visual Designer. The Flow Checker will check for common mistakes like infinite loops, poor performance, or passing nullable and non-nullable fields between different actions and steps. And lastly, we have the Canvas App Checker. This app checker will automatically analyze your Power App for any potential performance issues, like having non-delegable queries, as well as go check for accessibility risks in case you want to use a screen reader. So altogether, all this family of checkers make it easier than ever to build a high-quality, enterprise-grade solution using the Power Platform. And to show this in action, I'm going to go switch to a customer story for Virgin Atlantic and demo using the product in real time. So if I switch over here to the iPad, we can see that Virgin is using a Power App to actually check customers into a spa. And this is really important to Virgin because their top priority is to make sure they deliver a world-class customer experience. And historically, they would have their guests and customers fill out a paper form just like this for health questionnaire, as well as fill out all their different flight and customer information again. Not a great, relaxing experience. So using Power Apps, they built this world-class iPad application which can do complex things using device capabilities like scanning a boarding pass. And what's great is this automatic will call out to their CRM. So we'll download all the information about the customer that's currently checking in and fill it out on this screen. You can see information about past booking history as well as customer information. I can then easily click through using this tablet to choose the different spa experiences I want. Maybe I want to unwind in a creative dry style, go to next. I can then fill out all this different information based on that health questionnaire. And I can also then go sign, fill out a signature right on the device, which is all captured digitally. And this experience is great for Virgin customers because it really captures the Virgin brand of a world-class, relaxing experience even when you're flying. And what's great about Power Apps is that it also has rich integration with Dynamics 365. So here we're looking at the contact card in the Dynamics 365 for customer service application, and we can see that the same Power Apps information is available here. This is the same spa history information right in the center, and I can say when on the phone with the customer if it's an anniversary or if they're actually celebrating a certain number of years with the airline, I can actually go do offers and take actions in the spa from my customer care application. I can offer additional points or even send a satisfaction survey. And this is what's so powerful about the Common Data Service, Power Platform, and Dynamics is that all your data can come together so you can give a consistent, holistic experience for your customer. And in this case, this whole experience was built by the Virgin Atlantic IT team, but what's special at Virgin and what we've seen in a lot of other customers is it doesn't just exist in IT. The Power Platform is also accessible for non-professional developers. And right here, we're looking at the Power App Studio, and this is a Power App that was built by a fuel efficiency engineer, not a developer, to go improve the business process around requesting additional fuel for a particular flight. In this case, we see the PowerPoint, Excel-like experience to go build the app. I just want to go drop on a new screen. Over the last 6 months, we released a bunch of new screen templates that automatically wire up to Office and things like that. But in this case, I'm just going to drop on a simple blank screen. If I go look at this blank screen, I want to have a header on this mobile application. And what's great is the new components capability, which is one of the most transformative capabilities in the April release for Power Apps, allows you to have reusable components and UI elements that you can use across screens as well as across different applications. And in this case, it's a very specifically Virgin Atlantic branded header with a home button and a back button that I can use across all the different mobile applications at Virgin. So for the next step, I'll just add a gallery, which is a pretty simple list control, so I can see all the different elements. And in this case, I just want to make it so I can easily choose whatever flight I'm purchasing or configuring the fuel for. And the way I do that is by connecting to a data source. And if I go over here and click Add Data Source, we see that there's tons of different data sources available built right inside of Power Apps. And over the last 6 months, we've released dozens of new connectors to core cloud services, as well as core business data, as well as having very rich Azure connectivity with a couple dozen different Azure services available out of the box. However, in this case, I'm just going to connect to the Common Data Service to pull back the flight information, and that's all done with the new, very simple data source UI. In this case, I'll switch over to the gallery, and I want to change the fields that are being displayed. If I want to say change it from the created on time to say the departure airport code, and then maybe go to the formula bar and just use that Excel-like expression language to very easy drop in a few different custom looking UI. In this case, I'm just going from the destination to the departure airport to the destination airport, JFK to Heathrow. Pretty simple, but very easy to do without running any code and accessible to a non-developer. So I switch over here maybe and just change the image over to a plane, just so I can know what plane I'm looking at to go put the fuel in and things like that. And we can see how a non-developer can very easily start to transform business processes without having to write any code. And just for timeliness, I'll switch over to a mobile device with a finished application. We can see here, across both Android and iOS. I can make a request to speed up a flight. I can see all the different flights available to me. This is intelligently pulled on based on which airport I'm working on and where I physically am located. I can then also go say how much time I want to save, request additional fuel, drop on the speed up cost, and then choose a reason. And the benefit of having this reason here is that you can force consistency across the business process to make sure everybody's following the same steps and gathering all the relevant information. So just a very powerful mobile application for Virgin built without developers being involved. And it doesn't just stop there. In the case of Virgin, they wanted to go extend it further and make sure that they could have manager approval for certain fuel change requests. So to do that, they actually use Microsoft Flow, another core part of the Power Platform. We can see here just a simple Microsoft Flow. When a record is created, get that record, look up the manager, and start an approval in Teams. And this Teams step is brand new and very powerful and fulfills one of the top requests from our customers, which is to have the custom option configuration for approvals. So we can see here I have the normal approve, reject, but I can also request additional information. And if I look here, we can see all the relevant context from that approval request from the mobile device is visible right inside Microsoft Flow. And then based on the answer, I will use this switch statement to go down a bunch of different tracks. And to show this in action, we can see inside of Teams, we actually have this rich adaptive card, which allows the manager who's not on a mobile device, but instead at a PC in the back office to choose to approve, reject, or even request additional information and fill this in right inside of Teams. I can say this requires more details. And that shows kind of, again, how Power Apps and Flow can go together to make it very easy to act on data from a mobile and PC experience, as well as have flow automations and so on. And lastly, Virgin also used Power BI to very easily analyze all the data that's now being collected across these digital presences. And in this case, it's possible to analyze where you're requesting additional fuel and how much extra money it's taking. And all this information is easy to slice and dice inside of Power BI. And it's even possible to embed a Power App down here in the bottom right, like I was talking about earlier, to go take additional actions based on a particular request, to say request a permanent fuel change. So altogether, across Power Apps, Microsoft Flow, and Power BI, it's exceptionally easy for IT developers as well as citizen developers to analyze, act, and automate within their business. And to finish it off, I'll be turning it over to James Phillips, who will close out the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. So that was, believe it or not, that was just barely scratching the surface on the April 2019 release. We focused on Dynamics 365, the Power Platform, and really how it enables our customers, you, to connect with your data, to gain intelligence, and to use that to act in a more proactive way. Now, there are a couple of ways you can learn more. The first way is through the URL on the screen here. You can go to the release notes. It's comprehensive. It talks about all the capabilities we demonstrated today and more. And in June, we've got our Microsoft Business Applications Summit in Atlanta. There you can spend 2 full days with the engineers that have built these services, dozens and dozens and dozens of deep dive sessions, a great way to immerse yourself in the April 2019 release. Thanks again for spending all the time with us today. We'll see you in October when we do this the next time. Thanks very much.
live in a time of relentless business transformation. Where connecting customers, products, people, and data wins. Where smarter wins. A time where Microsoft technology can help transform organizations, bringing together company and customer, patient and provider, factory and field service, people and government, storefront and supply chain. Without silos, without limits. Just customers, products, people, and data connected and ready. This is Dynamics 365. Microsoft Business Applications. Unlock next.